Baker 19 for a copy.
In this video, we're going to deal with understanding the difference between profit and earnings. You older guys that understand it, hey, you can just blow through this, or you can sit around and just be like scratching your head and wondering how I'd managed this all together. It's not all bad news and it's not all great news, and you can stick around to the end and see how things have worked out here in the last month if you want to. But here's a quick look at a snapshot. Now this snapshot deals with the hiring on process and working through the virus, where the freight rates just tanked out and the freight just evaporated and there wasn't much to choose from. So I sat at the house a lot. I'm not going to run my truck in the ground hauling cheap freight. I'm just not going to do that. I'm here to make money, not lose money. As you can see, during this period of time, I had a total of $66,989.07 in total earnings. That's my 1099. And the deductions, as you can see there, and my total deposits that went into my business account. For you guys that are thinking about leasing a truck or buying a truck and leasing it on with a company or getting your own authority, you have to understand your deposits are meaningless until you take out all your deductions. Yes, I had some deductions up there, but I still have to take deductions out of that total deposit there. I pay myself 30 cents a mile based on 100,000 miles a year, so I draw a salary of about $576 and something every week. And I pay myself that, and of course taxes has to come out of that also, so you have to consider that. So even on $30,000 a year salary, I'm still paying in about $7,000-8,000 in FICA and Medicare and all that stuff you have to worry about. So these are things you keep in mind. What you see as a total deposit is not your profit. It's just what you deposited into the business account. And I want to remind you once again that this all took place while the virus was just hammering everybody. It affected freight, it affected freight rates, it affected the bottom line to those who tried to stay out here and run. So again, on this snapshot, you can see that I have a truck payment, a very high truck payment. The truck payment combined with the payroll just eat up a little over $40,000 of that total $46,268 deposit. So you can see where we're going here. And we're not done yet. I have to have physical damage insurance on my lease truck, and that's for the period. This particular period of time was $2,460. So we really eat into that total deposit, and these are things you have to keep in mind. So let's move down to the bottom line, the profit, $3,056. That's actually not accurate either, because I bought a few things for the truck, like a set of cat eyes and a remote tire pressure sensing. So I spent a little bit of money there. And of course, there's the truck washes. That's profit the business made. That's not profit I made. So here's something to consider if you're thinking about buying or leasing a truck: a catastrophic event that could take you out. Could you live off of $576 before taxes if something like this hit? And if your answer is no, then you can see clearly that you shouldn't be doing something like this. That said, if you have a spouse at home that has a job also that can help support through this time, a period of time like this, then you may be okay. And if you've got low expenses, you'll be okay too. You just have to keep all these things in mind. You're not going to get rich driving a truck, period. If you have everything together and you know what you're doing, you can live quite comfortably driving a truck, just a single truck as a solo driver. Now you may want to think bigger and go to fleets. Well, that's all well and good, but you need to keep that profit high. Now let's dive off into those expenses, that $20,000 deduction. The big number is right at the bottom. That's fuel, $14,796. You're always going to have to pay fuel, period. Up at the top, the plates, I pay for them weekly. Generally, you have those done in about 17 weeks. Mileage tax, that varies from month to month. Your ad valorem tax also varies. Your fuel tax will vary as well. Mine's been pretty well kept low, so kind of know how to run that. The TransFlow with the paperwork, I haven't quite figured out how to do their online thing yet, because I can't get the software to work properly on my laptop, so I'm paying about twice as much as I should for that. Then there's the direct deposit fees. That's $1 every week. And card fees, you know, and just things like that. The locks, the escrow, and the Qualcomm, while those numbers, you know, seem a little high there, that's a one-time thing, so you don't have to look for that again. And airtime, of course, that's my DriveWise, my GPS, and all those goodies. The bobtail insurance is a weekly expense, so you will be doing that. No, the total is not $626 a week. The CPP, that's Contractor Protection Plan, I advise you to have that. That's also a weekly thing. And the fines, well, just say if you decide to pay your tolls in West Virginia online, go and pay them online, because the $35 toll turned into a $140 fine because I forgot to pay it. Now let's take a look at a typical week of deductions, if there is such a thing. Is you'll note a line on here that's $94.99. That's my weekly payment on my tags. We just renewed our plates, so as you can see, it would be a lot cheaper if it wasn't on there. Now this does vary week to week and month to month depending on what fees you got coming out, but $165 a week is probably a good number to work with. So now we've come full circle, and you can see from here the profit was $3,056. Now my bills are considerably lower than others, and I had a very good savings account built up, a business savings account, to help me weather through this storm. And I was able to sit when I needed to sit, because I just don't want to run my truck into the ground, and that's the bottom line there. Someone else might not be fortunate enough to do that, and you really need to think about these things when you step off into this as a business. My goal from day one when I got my truck was to get $10,000 in my savings account as quickly as possible, which I managed to do that. I mean, it wasn't easy starting out, I'll be quite honest with you. And the thing of it is when you see that money in that savings account, you have to keep hands off. You can't be diving into that money every time you see a toy or something that you want to buy. That $10,000 was my emergency fund, and that's what helped me get through this. Now the good news is that freight has picked up, and I've actually been able to show an $8,000 profit for the last 30 days. So things are kind of coming back to normal now, if we can call this normal, because we certainly don't know what's going to happen during the holiday rush. It may pick up, it may just tank. This video is not by any means 100% of what you will deal with as an owner-operator. It's not even 100% accurate. It doesn't deal with my total earnings in total. This is just a snapshot of an area where some of the fees might have overlapped and some of the payroll might have overlapped, either way. But it gives you a good idea of what to expect should you decide to lease a truck, buy a truck, and become an owner-operator and try to run your own business. And it's not meant in any way to discourage you if this is something you truly want to do, because it is something you can do. You just have to have the right mentality, and you have to be focused on what it is you're trying to accomplish. I do have to circle back to one thing: the amount of money that I reflected in fuel. That's not 100% accurate. That is advances I took for fuel. I carry a hefty balance on my fuel card at all times, because I don't want to be there with a zero balance when I really need fuel. I want to be able to tap it whenever I need to. So there's a positive on my fuel card at this time.